Welcome to That 80s Show, a show that Dory, we have discovered, recording the show, Dory is literally allergic to it.
I'm allergic to talking about the 80s but not being able to live in the 80s. I think that's what it is.
Dory, I want to start off this week's show by talking about all these 80s related documentaries that are on their way to the various streamers. So I'm going to start off. This one has been around for a while, but it's finally getting like a public release. It's the Culture Club and Boy George story. I don't have the name with me. It's as yet unnamed, but it's just called Boy George and Culture Club. And it tells the story of the Culture Club with Boy George that we've always wanted to know and answers the questions we've always needed answering, Dory. You got any questions for Culture Club or Boy George?
How did you get your makeup so good? I don't know.
So actually,
no, I don't know.
You know, Boy George does talk about this. So according to the trailer, it covers the Culture Club. Because as big a band as the Culture Club and Boy George were, so what do we know about them? We know that Boy George was in a relationship. Two of the members, and one of them being Boy George, was in a relationship. Again, Boy George was such a dominant figure in the Culture Club that you kind of don't separate them. You just think they were the backing band to Boy George.
I remember, is it John Moss? John Moss, I remember.
I think it's John. And didn't they like sue each other, or two of the members? Again, one of the members sued Boy George, and it was like a really acrimonious. It got quite ugly a few years ago. And based on the trailer that I've seen, I'll pop it up, that 80s Show essay on Facebook. It does get into a little bit of that, of people going, well, you know, it wasn't just Boy George and we were his backup band. I mean, we were a proper band that he just happened to transcend, and they do seem to touch on that. One thing I did appreciate what they did is they used a news clip, because obviously the big talking point, you kind of forget what a big talking point Boy George and his look was. Back in the very conservative 1980s, right?
Yes, I remember you couldn't pick up a magazine without seeing the words gender bender, because that's what they used to call him. And I wonder actually how he felt about that.
It is spoken about, and I wonder if this clip was doctored, because that was the phrase they always used with him. They use in this news clip from the 80s, they called him gender blender. It's a phenomenon called him, but I wonder if they didn't. They either doctored it or they went specifically to find one, because over the years, gender bender has become it's like doesn't sit well. Like, you don't say that.
Yeah. Maybe.
But gender blender is probably easier on the ears, I suppose. Like with a modern of. Is it? I don't know, maybe because you just find gender bender so bad that you're like, anything that's not that seems better. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But yes, it tracks the Culture Club from their humble beginnings through to Boy George becoming a global phenomenon, and then eventually the band breaking up. I wonder if it's going to cover Boy George and his arrest. Remember, he got arrested for kidnap. We tied the guy to
oh my goodness.
He knows what he is. He knows life is ridiculous. Seems to have a very good sense of humor about himself. So that is one documentary on the way, Boy George and the Culture Club. They haven't set up, so, you know, with streaming and rights and all the rest of it, we don't know where they're actually, you know, these kind of like independently created ones that aren't created by the streamer themselves. You never know where they're going to pop up because like of rights usage. So, but it is scheduled to come out in South Africa. Now, this one is going to be harder to find, because when I try to go down the information to try to find where the fuck am I going to watch this one, oh my God, it sounds like a fucking pyramid scheme. But it's called Knight Rider Declassified. And it is the story of behind the scenes of the TV show Knight Rider. And it's got all the people in it. It's got, obviously, it's got David Hasselhoff.
George?
Well, I mean, because Boy George was in the A-Team. He wasn't in Knight Rider. Yes, Boy George was an A-team. So, of course, it's got David Hasselhoff. He's going to never pass up an opportunity to be the Hoff. A lot of the stunt riders, the guys who actually created K.I.T., a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff, and there's kind of like a mini movie to promote it, and they show like how they say there was no CGI, so everything was actually a stunt. They show how the cars would get fucked up, how many different versions of K.I.T. they had. They speak to the stuntmen, pretty much everyone involved, the extra characters. Remember, they brought in a girlfriend for Michael Knight, and she her clip is like, no, imagine being the person that is accused of almost destroying Knight Rider, because people just no.
And also the sexual tension between him and whatever her name was. The main chick.
Yes. You see, the thing is, as sexual as Michael Knight, aka David Hasselhoff, is, I never imagined him having sex. I imagine he's like a Ken doll down there. You know? He has to be. He has to be. Think of the jeans. Think of how those jeans were just like, you're not fitting anything in there. You know what I mean?
Did you not watch Baywatch?
Blending. Yeah, but that's Baywatch. That's not Michael Knight. Because remember, Michael Knight, in the story, he was brought back from the dead. Right? He's a guy who died, and then they kind of revived him. And maybe part of that, big hair, nothing down there. You know, so maybe that was a trade-off, because like we don't.
I love the podcast.
Writing that down right now. Because they say we don't want anything, because it's not aerodynamic, right? We can't have Michael Nuts here fucking dragging down the G-force of K.I.T. We got to streamline this shit, make it as fucking smooth as the bonnet on this beautiful black Trans Am. But I'll tell you the weirdest thing about watching kind of this little mini movie is the voice of K.I.T. was done by William Daniels, right? And if you are of a millennial persuasion, you'll know him as Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World, right? The next door neighbor / kindly principal. Now, even though again, I don't know how much he was putting it on, because when he's Mr. Feeney, that voice, but he's a bit more like a character. In every clip I saw of this, he fully leaned into speaking like K.I.T. And I was like, oh my God, like nostalgia bump of cocaine in your brain of him talking.
Because I think he sound a little bit more computerized as K.I.T. Just a little bit more robotic.
And very slow and very specific,
Yes.
And it's like, and this is how he's conducting his interviews. I was like, oh my God, this is just fantastic. Like, I don't even want, that's a man. Imagine. So the two people. Still alive. The two people who've got the best voices is William Daniels, who was K.I.T., and then the guy who voiced Optimus Prime. Those are the two voices. Imagine like those two reading like a recipe book. Optimus Prime and K.I.T.
Why not Shakespeare or, some sort of
stupid
classic novel?
They must read the recipe book. Remember back in the 80s, all our moms had that like birthday cake book of where it like had every year had a different type of cake that your mom would make. Like 8 was the racing track. And you remember that?
Oh my God, you've just unlocked a memory from my brain.
Yeah.
There was a train. Remember the train?
There was a train. There was a soccer field.
Yes, the soccer field.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't believe.
There was a tortoise.
I've forgotten that. Do you remember the swimming pool?
Oh my God. I mean, and they were so elaborate. So good.
It was like jelly.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, and had little money keys inside it, and like as a treat, like they put like something. Yeah. So imagine Optimus Prime and K.I.T. reading that recipe. There is such a weird corner of the internet where that is fascinating to people.
How did we all have the same recipe book? Is this a South African thing, or is this an international thing?
So I'll tell you why, right? So why it actually came up in my brain is I heard them talking about it on another podcast, but they're Australian. And the way they were
Okay.
describing it, I was like, no, but we had that one. And I'm sure it was a
Uh-huh.
Huisgenoot release. So I wonder if it wasn't somebody had written a book, done this book, and then they
Mm.
maybe licensed it around the world in different territories and maybe like did a bit of an adaptation. Like Karel Sekoy was one of them, or like we did, maybe that was like,
I'm so going down an internet rabbit hole after this, finding those pictures
yeah.
because they are very fresh in my mind now that you've unlocked them.
I actually wish because it was like in my brain. I brought this up. It popped into my brain as we're talking this, and I'm kind of regretting not actually having prepped it more. And this is a
Yeah.
pre-recorded show, so we could say, you know what, let's stop now and actually go and
Yeah.
get it and restart. But it's like,
No,
no, we got
no.
another show.
We'll
Let's
revisit
do,
next week. We'll
yes,
revisit.
okay.
We can
So
find pictures.
listen, you do that. You do that. I'm gonna
Okay.
once we find it, I'm getting AI to have Optimus Prime and K.I.T. read it.
I'm going to get someone
Okay.
who can bake to make me one of the cakes.
Fuck. Do you think they're still good? Because I mean, we prob we I mean
Dude,
they're
that
probably
soccer
unhealthy as
field
shit.
looked so tasty. That soccer field, you could just imagine how green your tongue was going to be afterwards.
That's what I'm
It looked
saying.
so
Because
good.
like a lot of things that were like bits of the ingredients are very banned right now. Very banned.
I'm sure.
So
I
I
mean,
wonder.
all the unpronounceables were in those ingredients for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Plus cocaine. So that is okay. So let's come back to that next week, right? So this is
Yes.
Knight Rider,
Yeah.
Declassified. Now this is the thing that killed me, right? So I find the clip. Hey, this is cool. Want to watch this? When is this thing coming out? Oh my god. It's like a 5-tier release thing. Okay, it's like
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a Kickstarter. They obviously have money to make it because it's got David Hasselhoff, right? And it's got all the people. It's got all this archival footage. I mean, it's like so they had money to make it, but now they're trying to recoup it because this isn't like a fan thing. This is like proper everybody that was involved. And now they're trying to like, there's different tiers. So if you want episode 1 plus cut downs of episode 2, there's one pricing. Then you get episode 2 and 3, but you only get half of it. It's so fucking pyramid schemey. Maybe David Hasselhoff is at the top of it, right? So like no matter what tier you buy, he gets money. So I don't expect us to see that one anytime soon, but it is promising to be the most comprehensive documentary covering Knight Rider ever. Okay, because that's what people
Yeah.
want. The one documentary, the final documentary that the celeb savant Barrett Edelstein is very excited about
Yes.
is a documentary by some person called Kylie. Now, I thought it was the Kardashian adjacent Kylie Jenner, but it's not. It seems to be Kylie Minogue. Have you heard of such a person, Dory?
I have heard of such a person, Paulo. You better stop right now. Barrett's going to never speak to you again.
Of course, we have heard about it. So Kylie Minogue has got a 3-part documentary. That one is going to be on Netflix. No pyramid schemes to watch that one. It's all the stuff, right? Because it goes back to her early days as a kid, performing in Australia, her
Being on
appearance, her breakthrough on
Neighbours.
Neighbours. Jason Donovan. So
course.
far, everything I've watched, I have not seen Jason Donovan yet, but of course, he's such a big part of the Kylie story. I imagine like one full episode just dedicated to him, right? And
No.
if not, I'll be upset. I don't know if you did your homework from last week, Dory. But I did. I did my homework. In that we brought up Michael Pare and his, of course, we're talking about his movie, Eddie and the Cruisers. But then we spoke about, no, and I don't expect you to. And because you know how I know you haven't watched it because you're smiling. Because if you watch that movie, you'd be miserable because everybody's so upset about everything. I mean,
so angsty, but I love angst.
I know, but I get it. It is a movie about a 60s teenager dying before he's had a chance to fulfill his potential. But oh my God, Dory, so miserable, so miserable. So it starred Michael Pare. What has he been in? And he was in the TV show Houston Nights. Why have we forgotten Houston Nights out of our brain? Let's go look. Massive reason we forgot about it. It is shit. So bad. So Houston Nights, to remind you, is Michael Pare and another guy called Michael Beck. Double Michaels. Always, never too many Michaels, right? So it is Michael Beck is a Texas lawman, and Michael Pare, tough, streetwise Chicago cop who gets transferred to Houston. And then the two of them are put together as partners, and then they go solve crimes. Now, crime solving, so many shows are about crime solving. But Houston Nights didn't have that thing, right? So either you had like a will they, won't they, which this didn't really have. You will have one funny, one tough. They kind of had that, but it wasn't enough. Sometimes you have a robot, a robot companion. No. So it was, even when I went back and the trailer, the opening, so the same. It's just got yellow. And then the episodes are like, okay, this is what I exactly expect it to be. It's not exactly Miami Vice. Like there's no like shootouts on a yacht. So
nothing
comparative,
is Miami Vice.
That's why we forgot it. Nothing. That's why we forgot it. I mean, the whole time, both of them, just to show you how inferior it was to Miami Vice, the whole like entire run of the show, they had their socks on the whole time. Not once did they wear their shoes without socks.
Didn't they like always wear jeans? Like always. They were never in like a suit or anything, right?
No. So from what I saw, Michael Pare's character, he was always more formal. Where the Texas lawman, he was Texas. He had a hat and boots and jeans. Belt buckle.
Why does this sound exactly like Simon and Simon?
But except not as good, because at least they were like quirky and they were both called Simon. They, so we had that thing. So it was like it like just didn't have, that's why we forgot it. And listen, as we heard from last week that Michael Pare still has the third part of the Eddie and the Cruisers movie written. He probably has a Houston Nights reboot in the works. So like, maybe he sees something we don't. So Houston Nights, I mean, yeah, let's just move on from that. But what it did is it opened up a whole world of 80 shows that nobody remembers, right?
Right.
And you go, again, why did these shows kind of disappear? We had this weird thing in South Africa that a lot of shows were subtitled and carried on Afrikaans. So there were certain things that I certainly might have missed, because I wouldn't have been watching the Afrikaans days on TV. Okay, we had 2 days Afrikaans and the days were split, right?
I'm going to correct you. They weren't subtitled, they were dubbed.
Dubbed, sorry. They were totally dubbed.
Not subtitled.
That is right.
With Radio Decent having the English soundtrack.
So some of these shows, and I really hope that our cultural exchange experts from Pretoria and Krugersdorp will regale us with the Afrikaans. Go, you idiots, this show is called this. Because that often happens. We go, we never heard of that show. And they go, oh no, it was called Spikkelboom en die Kabouter. It was like, oh, okay, fuck. You're supposed to fucking know what that is.
Simon and Simon was Simon and Simon. It was Simon and Simon.
But it wasn't all as a literal translation. It wasn't all as Simon and Simon. It would have been like a man in a jas.
Die Man van Staal was... it blew my mind when I heard that was the $1 Million Man, as opposed to the Man of Steel.
Because that's not a direct translation. And now, right, he is a man. He wasn't made of steel. He wasn't, because he was like, he had skin. And like, if made of steel, he would have moved like that. So it was never a literal translation. But anyway, I expect them to say, no, some of these things are wrong. You may have known it as this, but it was called like Peter and die fucking sauce. I don't know, whatever it was. Anyway, so it's things like that.
You wanted to say Kabouter again. I know you.
I know 5 Afrikaans words, story. One of them is the P word. don't know. I'm stuck after that. Then I got 4.
Liver hexy.
Not a word, a lifestyle. That's a lifestyle. So the first show that pops up is, now this was interesting because it starred Lou Gossett Jr., right? You go, oh, this should have been a big show. A show called The Powers of Matthew Starr ran for 1 season in 82. So Matthew Starr is an alien prince, but he doesn't look like an alien, looks like a human, right? And he's hiding on Earth after his planet I couldn't quite make out if his planet was destroyed or taken over, right? I couldn't get that far. But he's hiding out on Earth as a normal high school student, and he has abilities, psychic abilities that he uses to defend himself and others. So he's got telekinesis, he's got enhanced perception and reflexes. He's got like whatever mental powers or specific powers he needed to solve the problem in that episode. So like he never knew what his powers were until he needed it for something, so that, that's a power as well. And Lou Gossett Jr. was his mentor, who was a government agent who knew about him and was assigned to protect him from whatever. So whether the people who destroyed his planet and I assume killed his father were maybe going to come to Earth, which then we got bigger problems in Lou Gossett Jr. And so that was The Powers of Matthew Starr. The next one was a sitcom called Jennifer Slept Here. This one is a teenage boy moves into a new house, and this house is haunted by the ghost of a 50s Hollywood actress, right? But only the boy is the only one who can see and communicate with her. Problems.
It sounds so random, though. It doesn't even sound that interesting.
The opening sequence is the weirdest thing. It looks like remember in the Reader's Digest, they used to get like people with disabilities to like paint the picture, draw pictures with their mouths. This is the only way to describe it, okay? Like there was always a story in the back of Reader's Digest of people who didn't have arms and they were like painting with their mouth, right?
Yes, Paulo, they're called the mouth and foot painters, not the foot and mouth painters for obvious reasons. But every year my mother would buy their calendars because they would make these amazing artworks, make them into like a little desk calendar and sell them. But the art is beautiful. It's really good.
They're fantastic, way better. I draw stickmen. So that's, but that's the description that I'm using. So I kind of think that as a teenage boy, if there's a glamorous 1950s actress that only you can see, right? I kind of feel that show could have gone very porkies very quickly, you know what I mean? Here's another show never have heard of. This, the kind of the intro trailer I saw, I've seen before, The Wizard. And the Wizard was this genius toy inventor who used his creations. He worked with let me get into the whole thing. So the guy who played the Wizard was a little person, right? Okay, but he was this genius toy inventor. But he would go on these secret missions, okay? And he worked with a disabled assistant in a wheelchair who was a former CIA agent who would manage it. Kind of, they were the man in the chair, would manage the operation from the base. And then they would get contracted into the government to say, hey, we got a problem. We can't solve it. You guys are the perfect people. Plus, you also fit so many quotas for us to help us solve this problem using your gadgets and toys. So it was kind of like MacGyver meets Inspector Gadget meets Willow. It kind of sat in that wheelhouse.
Okay. So there were no quotas in the 80s. So I'm actually surprised that this show exists. You know what I mean? Very, very, very ahead of its time.
There was also another one from 1983 called Mr. Smith, where it was about a genetically enhanced chimpanzee, and he worked in the government. And they would bring him in. Again, he was part of a government think tank, and he would help solve problems using his intuition, his logic, and a little dose of comedy. So in this scenario, a chimpanzee runs America. Insert your own joke here. I mean, just
yeah, totally. I'm not saying anything.
Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Okay. This one, I've like seen this one pops up every now and again as a bit of a meme. The Mr. Smith ape, he exists. He exists. You've seen him. It's an ape in a suit. Remember in the 80s, we loved putting chimpanzees and stuff? It was just the height of comedy. Chimpanzees. We had orangutans for a little bit. That was where we were. That was where we were. Another show, Dory, again, this one in your mind's eye. Imagine Love Boat, but on a train. And there was a show called Supertrain, right? But it was a massive, 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 like city train. It had malls, restaurants, pools, cabins, and every episode was Love Boat-ish in that the people who were the passengers, there'd be different stories around them and the crew and the people running the train and shit like that. That was called Supertrain.
Sounds cool, actually.
That's a super cool concept. Like that one I'm really into. Another one that was also inappropriate, in line with Jennifer Slept Here, was We Got It Made. Now, this ran for 4 seasons, and what they went said, you know how we got Three's Company, and it's 2 girls and a guy living together? What about we gender blend that? And we have 2 guys with 1 girl living there. Guess what? Fetish time. Let's make her a maid. And it was called We Got It Made. Here's some names. Mickey McKenzie played the young lady, and it was David Tucker and Jay Bostwick. Now, we know them from things, right? You might not know them straight away, but when you see them, you know who they are. So they were 2 bachelors, and then they hire... Yeah. He was like he's in a lot of things. I know he's also in Seinfeld at one stage. He was an extra on Seinfeld, a recurring character. And 2 bachelors, hire a maid, no problems whatsoever. There is so much misogyny, so much. None of the campness of Three's Company, Les Ritter.
What made Three's Company successful was that Jack was an idiot and the girls were the clever ones. But if it's turned around, then it's just misogynistic, right?
So what I can pick up, she wasn't the idiot. They were always cast as idiots, and then she would solve their problems. But typical 80s, she couldn't get the credit for it. Again, maybe they were trying to be like progressive, but she was always in tight shirts. And bending over, dusting. So who's to know?
Right.
And this one, now Dory, I promise you, I've spoken about a lot of shit today. I've spoken about like K.I.T.T and Optimus Prime reading cake cookbooks. So my mind is all over the place. This one sounds like it was written by my brain, but I promise you this is a real show called The Master. And The Master is about a American soldier who stays in Japan after World War II, and he trains to become a ninja master. Now, in the 80s, he's now an old man, and he leaves the United States. He leaves Japan for the United States to go find a daughter that he did not know he had. But this is seen to be dishonorable by the ninjas that he trained with. And every fucking episode is his former student trying to assassinate him. Every episode. So they'll have a storyline, but within the storyline, he's got to keep avoiding. So he's got to solve the problem of that episode, but also not be assassinated by his student. His former student. That is written by my brain. That is no doubt about that. I gotta say, we watched worse. Like, I don't know how, it's weird how some things just work where you go think about Mork and Mindy. Like, is Mork and Mindy really more ridiculous than Jennifer Slept Here, but you didn't have Robin Williams?
We were not spoiled for choice in the 80s. We watched what we got.
Yeah, so that's what we would have watched these things. That's the thing. That's why I say, you couldn't choose. Like, if it was on, you're going to watch it because that's your TV. And if it's in prime time, you're going to go, well, I'm going to watch it before I go to bed. Then there's the news. Then there's a test signal. So you would have, if this shit was here, we watched it. Always with the epilogues. Always with epilogues. But I look forward to finding out what those were called in Afrikaans. Now, Dory, you'd think that all this movie chat, I wouldn't have had time for a movie for you this week. But I got one.
Yay. Yay.
And it's a Kevin Bacon movie, Dory. Kevin Bacon. The movie is called Whitewater Summer. Have you heard of it?
Yes. I definitely saw it on the big screen. Yes.
Dory, that is so strange because South Africa...
Rafting down the river type thing, isn't it?
Exactly right, Dory. That is what it is. So I want you to look just quickly now. Look at the movie poster, right? Now, I'm glad you know this movie because maybe you can help tell me what this movie is about. Because if you look at the movie poster, can you describe the movie poster to me?
Oh, it's Sean Astin when he was younger. And let's read the payoff line before I describe the picture. The strong don't give up, the tough don't give in, and the cool don't give a damn. And
I didn't even read that.
It is a picture of this very, very scary looking waterfall. And there's a little canoe, and Kevin Bacon is sitting in the canoe with his blonde hair and his life jacket. And sitting in front of him is Sean Astin, looking very much like one of the guys from Weekend at Bernie's, because he's in his casual summery clothes, lying on the life jacket, not wearing it, looking very chilled for someone who's going over a waterfall. Yeah,
like Kevin Bacon is panicking. Really. He's panicking. Yeah. Sean Astin's character is like, hey, man, I'm chill. And it's done in a favorite style of 80s movie posters. It's that kind of hand-drawn by the Reader's Digest guys. Yeah. They drew it. So it's got that style. So you're thinking based on that, you go, oh, this is like you said, Weekend at Bernie's. This is a romp. Kevin Bacon, Sean Astin, he was a Goonie. Kevin Bacon is from... what is his dancing movie? Footloose. So, this is going to be so much fun.
You had my brain for a second there.
What a weird movie, right? Because it pitches itself as a comedy. So, Sean Astin's character is, he's like a bit of a bookish guy, a bit of a nerdy guy, plays chess. Oh my God, how dare you play chess in the 80s? And he liked astronomy. Oh God, not astronomy. You like astrology in the 80s? And horoscopes, not astronomy. And you don't play chess, you look at chests. And if you don't look at chests, we got to send you to a camp. Wow, this sounds like Mr. Smith is really in charge of the government program. Yeah. So his parents send him off to this like realignment boys toughening up camp, right? So he goes with a couple other guys, and Kevin Bacon is the camp leader, and they are taken. It's going to be a month-long thing, and Kevin Bacon's character called Vic takes him out into the wilderness, and we're going to survive, be manses for a month. Okay, I'm going to teach you survival skills, which so far involve walking across a rope bridge, doing free climbing on a rock face, and river rafting, of course, and catching fish with your hands, right? So, of course, Sean Astin, his character hates all the stuff. So, I hate this, so stupid. And Kevin Bacon's character is an absolute psychopathic dick. It's like Sean Astin's character is supposed to be lighthearted, but Kevin Bacon's character keeps going psychotic and goes, I think he's trying to kill him. Okay. Even to the point, like Sean Astin's character figures out while they're trying to catch fish with their hands, he goes, this is stupid. He creates a contraption to catch the fish. Vic, Kevin Bacon's character, breaks it. He's like, no, that's not how we do it out here in the wild. It's like, well, I mean, that seems counterintuitive. Yeah. So it's they go on a bunch of shenanigans and adventures. Eventually, at one point, Kevin Bacon's character falls, breaks his leg, and now it's up to Sean Astin, who's also been given shit by the other guys on the camp with him, to rescue him. And he rescues him, and then off he goes. And we're not left with a proper ending. We don't know if it's a resolution. We don't know if Sean Astin's parents are fine. What the message you're kind of left with is okay, no matter what you are like, you can survive in the wild if Kevin Bacon tries to kill you. I did find it quite funny that Kevin Bacon, after breaks his leg after he's been in a movie called Footloose. So yes, it's all fucking foot is loose. That makes sense. Yeah. So But in between this whole thing, you've got this narration of Sean Astin, and even the end scenes, you start going, Sean Astin's older in the end. And when he does the narration, he's older. So what the suspicion is that happened is when they first shot this movie, it only got released 2 years after it was shot. And what nobody knows, because even Kevin Bacon has never spoken about this movie. What people suspect is that it was supposed to be a much darker movie where Kevin Bacon kills somebody or somebody dies or something. So it's a bit more dramatic.
Yeah.
But because Sean Astin kind of became this comedy fun guy, they brought him back in, recut and reshot some things, had his character do these narrations in between that are a little bit more quirky. And as you can see from the movie poster, pitch it as this more fun summer lols type thing.
Yeah.
And you end up with this fucking weird anomaly, especially when you consider that the two of them became pretty big stars.
I had remembered it as him being a camp counselor, but like with kids. When I say kids, not little kids, like young teenagers.
Well, they were teenager-ish. Yeah, they were teenager-ish.
Yes, actually, I suppose they would have been.
Very bizarre movie called Whitewater Summer. And here's the thing. So this is kind of like late 80s that this movie comes out. Kevin Bacon, in 94, does another movie called The River Wild, where he's river rafting again with Meryl Streep.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, though. I don't know. No, I'm pretty sure
in that one,
the 80s one.
In that one, I haven't checked it, but I think Meryl Streep is like this expert white river rafter, and then Kevin Bacon is a criminal that kidnaps her family, and then she has to river raft to get her family or some shit like that. Like, he obviously, maybe he's like carrying some like trauma over Whitewater Summer, going, I have to make like an iconic white river rafting movie. So let me just get back in the boat and, just keep my career afloat. I don't know. Is that something sounds like you'd say?
I think white river rafting was big in those days, and nobody cares about it anymore. But in those days, it was quite a big activity.
Like windsurfing. I'm waiting for that to make a comeback. Windsurfing will definitely be on its way back. So, Dori, great show today. We spoke so much shit today, but everything has been true, except for this segment of the show where one thing is definitely going to be a lie. Dori, we're going to close off that show with 2 80s truths and a lie. No specific theme today, but I'm going to make 3 statements. 2 are true, 1 is a lie. And you know what I feel I need for the segment? We do it all the time. I feel I need like a sound or a jingle or a mnemonic. Or something, to go, this is, or like clips, like Jack Nicholson going, you can handle the truth. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe I'll play that. But I need something.
I think we might get sued if you pay that.
Oh, Creative Commons, Dory. Creative Commons, creative license. And I'm not making money out of it. Okay, I got 3 comments. I got 3 statements. 2 are true, 1 is a lie. Can you identify? The first one is, one of Jean-Claude Van Damme's first roles, he was credited as Gay Karate Man. Okay, statement number 1. Statement number 2, Boney M had their own time-traveling animated adventure show on West German TV. We've spoken about a lot of forgotten TV shows. Did I find one that I haven't told you about? And then the final one. The Beastie Boys used to open up for themselves back in the 80s. So it's 3 statements. Jean-Claude Van Damme credited as Gay Karate Man in an early role. Boney M had their own animated cartoon adventure. The Jacksons had it. Why can't Boney M have it? And the Beastie Boys were their own opening act in the 80s. 2 are true, 1 is a lie.
Okay, the Jean-Claude Van Damme one has to be true because you would never have made that up.
What a fantastic truth it is. He's in a movie, a short film called Monaco Forever. Okay? Fucking hell, Dory. I've watched his clip. It is the most bizarre thing you have ever seen in your life. So I don't quite know the story, but it's a story of a spy who is now walking in the kind of like outskirts or countryside outside of Monaco. And this little red sports car pulls up with Jean-Claude Van Damme acting very camp. Okay, so while they're driving, Jean-Claude Van Damme keeps touching the guy's leg and goes, "Oh, I can see you work out. You're very strong," and then grabs his crotch. So this dude jumps out the car now to run away from Jean-Claude Van Damme, who follows him in his espadrilles, and now they do karate with each other. Okay. Until the guy runs away.
This is where the terrible... So Jean-Claude Van Damme is responsible for the terrible stereotype of gay men being these like sexual predators.
When in fact, Jean-Claude Van Damme is just the sexual predator. It is so weird, but at the same time, it is very, very funny. Very, very funny. So yes, and his character was simply called, in true 80s style, and true 80s European style, Gay Karate Man. That's from 1984's Monaco Forever. More so, oh yes, the man he tried to seduce was an ex-Nazi jewel thief. I forgot to get that in. He wasn't a spy. He was an ex-Nazi jewel thief. Now, it's not clear whether he was an ex-Nazi who stole jewels or was a thief who stole ex-Nazi jewels. Like that, I don't know. But, kids' grammar is important. But so I don't know that. Yeah. Okay, so the other two, Boney M had their own animated time-traveling adventure, or the Beastie Boys used to open up for themselves in the 80s.
I'm going to go with the Beastie Boys being true.
How's about this story? So, Beastie Boys are super musical, right? They do all genres, but of course, they break through with rap and hip hop. But they actually had a heavy metal band called Trip Hammer, okay? And while they're touring and all the rest of it and doing their songs and show after show and every set's the same and every city looks the same, we're so bored that they would actually dress up as this band Trip Hammer and would perform as their own opening act before their show, just to do something different. And back in the 80s, people didn't have camera phones. People weren't that wise. They were like, "Is that Beastie Boys? We weren't taking photos." They dressed up. So yes, they were actually their own opening act before they did their Beastie Boys show, and it would just allow them to just be different and fun, and just it's a very Beastie Boys thing to do. And that's literally fighting for your right to party, Dory. Now, Dory, I have to try show you something, because this Boney M, I don't use AI to put this stuff together, right? The truths are truths that I find, and the lies I come up with myself. I kind of just write a whole bunch of things, and I go, oh, well, that's funny. Imagine Boney M having a time-traveling adventure animated show in West Germany. Okay. That's humorous to me.
It was too much. There were too many things to it. That's what gave it away.
You think it was a bit too much? Okay, well, that's fine. So what I did ask AI to do is to, what would the show look like? If you want to see for yourself, it is in the 80 show. It will be on that 80 Show SF Facebook page, but look down in the show notes. It will be there, this image. My brain plus AI has, I think, probably just created the best animated TV show ever. That's even so
cool, actually.
Look, would you not watch that? It's like Defenders of the Earth looking in animation style.
I mean, it looks very cool. It does.
Mit Boney M durch Raum und Zeit. Boney M on time. Die Zeitreise Abenteuer. It even tells you when it's on the channel, the made-up channel, Dory. Im ZDF. Oh, fuck, I'm watching the show. I'm making the show. What should I do first? Yeah. The Optimus Prime and K.I.T.T recipe cake recipe book, or what's my show called? What's my show called? Boney M Die Zeitreise Abenteuer on time.
Amazing.
What am I doing first? You swear to God I don't have a job. I don't have a family. I don't have a house to look after. This is just what I fucking do all the time. Make up stupid ass shit no one cares.
I don't know what you're going to do first, but I'm going to go and look for that damn recipe book or images from that recipe book.
Dory, I literally bet you go to any family member of yours that hasn't moved since the 80s. It will still be there, proud of place on their shelf. I don't think it's going to be that hard to find. I want the number 8 racetrack. Thanks for joining me, Dory. Goodbye.
I'd forgotten about that one. Bye.